Hello, it's Fernanda Paiva here from Hitchhiking Stars, and today we're gonna talk about the full moon. So the coming full moon that's gonna be happening on the 19th of August 2024, and that's a full moon at 27 Aquarius. So we have a very thought-provoking full moon here because again there are some very powerful aspects that this full moon is making. So we're definitely going to look at the aspects and configurations of this full moon. I have the chart of the full moon right in front of me as well as I speak, and I'm also going to share with you the imagery for the Sabian symbol. So what is the Sabian symbol for 27 Aquarius? Now the first thing that calls my attention majorly here with this full moon, so we came out of a cycle where the full moon happened at the late degrees Capricorn. So our last full moon was at 29 Capricorn, and it was conjoined Pluto at 0 degrees Aquarius. Now we fast forward to this next full moon that's about to happen, and this full moon is an exact square to Uranus. So two full moons that are very much tying to collective energies, to big energies, to big things, big revelations as well, or big feelings, as it was the case for last cycle's full moon. And now is all about Uranus, right? Now, first thing that comes to mind, all right, so this full moon is happening, as I mentioned, at 27 degrees Aquarius, so the sun is at 27 Leo, and Uranus is at 27 Taurus. Is a very, very exact square here that's happening. And both Aquarius and Uranus, which happens to be Aquarius' modern ruler, so modern planet ruler, they're both talking, they have a similar flavor profile in some ways. And one of the things that comes to mind when I look at them, when I think about them too, is a sense of awakening. So this full moon might bring a big sense of awakening. Now, full moons are usually combinations. Is a combination, is a harvest, is something becoming very clear, very on our faces, we can't ignore it anymore, that sort of feeling. And it does usually accompany big feelings or big situations as well, and that's especially for you that has planets, personal planets in your birth chart at these late degrees of the fixed signs. So if you have anything around 27 degrees of Aquarius, Leo, Taurus, or Scorpio as well, then this full moon is definitely going to be very big, very personal for you, or in a very personal way for you. So that will be a stronger tendency to express or to feel or to even witness these energies being manifested in your life as well around this full moon. Now, Uranus is the planet of disruption, is the planet of awakening, is connected to shock as well. So we could get shocking news, shocking events, big breakthroughs, big insights as well about our life, about our values, about what's going on, about our role in society or our role in the community as well. Remember, Aquarius as a sign has that connection to the group. But because it's a full moon, we're talking about an axis. We're talking about Aquarius as well as Leo. So with the full moon, there isn't just one sign without the other. And oppositions will usually talk about a need to balance the tendencies to go in opposite direction. So Leo will be asking you, how can you be yourself? How can you be authentically you? You know, there's that famous phrase like, be yourself because everybody else is taken. So it really is that journey of searching for that sense of authenticity, that sense of who you really are, regardless of conditionings and traumas and family expectations and other people's, society's expectations or ideals, etc., is really stepping into that place of individuation. And interestingly, psychologist Carl Jung, who wrote and came up with this idea of the process of individuation, had a sun in Leo, and he also had the ascendant in Aquarius. So it's an interesting combo here, and I think this full moon, carries a little bit of that flavor there. How can I be really myself and bring something to the community? So it isn't really about being yourself and not connecting or not being part of a community or not having social responsibility as well. It's about bringing the two. It's about balancing these two together, what you can offer, and at the same time be true to yourself as well. Now obviously in this equation the sun is shining really, really bright because it's in rulership. That sun is very powerful. If we go planet by planet in terms of what's being ruled by what, we're going to be led right back to that sun in Leo. So the sun in Leo is definitely shining very, very powerfully here during this full moon. And not only that, during the full moon as well, Mercury, which is still retrograde, is going to join that sun. So the day before the full moon, so the 18th of August, that Mercury was at the heart of the sun. So right before the full moon, we may have had already some insights and some very powerful ideas that will be coming back to us about who we are, about where we're at, about what we're really doing, where we're really headed. Do we want to go in that direction? Do we want to be treated in this way or that way? Like, does that really resonate? So during the full moon, that Mercury is still very close. So Mercury is at 26 degrees Leo. So there's that sense of our minds are kind of in that direction as well. Our minds are involved in this big release or this big harvest or culmination that this full moon is representing. So Mercury is going to be there, and yeah, the two ends doing that square to Uranus is really like somehow part of the energy here is liberation, is liberating ourselves from any situation that's really not to our best, interest. And it has to do with awakenings that are connected with security, that's Uranus and Taurus, but also values, right? Taurus will be talking about our values as well. So that's kind of part of that. I mean, it does have, like, when I'm looking at the chart, it has a bit of an explosive energy there. We won't be able to compromise if we don't truly feel like doing it. We won't be able to keep going or keep the same job or the same relationships if it really feels like we're stuck in a rut. I think that's one of the powerful things about Uranus. It really comes like chopping everything that's feeling like being stuck in a rut. So I honestly think use this full moon to get these insights, to see things a little bit clear, or to try and see things a little bit more clear. But don't act it out, because the energy is too compelling, is too powerful. And you might regret after. You might say things and, go a little bit too extreme. Uranus is the planet of extremes as well. So you might go really extreme on the rebelliousness and then regret. And we know with Mercury going retrograde still that we might change our minds. We might be going in one direction and then go up and change it completely. So really, keep an eye on that. Sit with these feelings, observe it as much as you can, work with it as much as you can, do creative things as usual. That's my go-to, writing, physical activities, journaling or painting or anything that you can do to really clarify what Uranus is trying to say. What's this big combination for you in particular? Because that's very powerful. Now, with this powerful Uranian energy, with this full moon, this powerful liberation, let's have a look at the Sabian symbol. So 27 degrees Aquarius. So the imagery is a tree felled and sawed to ensure a supply of wood for the winter. That's an imagery that I'm not particularly fond of, because I love trees, and to think about a tree completely chopped up and on the ground. I mean, I obviously understand the need for building a fire, and I love sitting around fires as well. We're all complex beings. But I do love trees, and so that's a challenging imagery for me. But some of the ideas around this imagery is preparing ahead, is thinking about the hard times that might be coming and not losing track of that. So being strategic, being ready as well for what might be coming your way. So I think, considering that Uranus is forming that tight square to this full moon, I would say do not act on impulse, because this imagery of the tree has a lot to do with preparing for the winter. It's not an impulsive, I just thought about something and I'm just doing it and throwing, everything out of the window. So maybe stick with that image in the sense of preparing and being strategic about whatever it is that's happening around you, and take that into consideration. Is also, maybe a warning there of careful not to be hoarding too much, keeping things that are not necessarily needed right now as well. So what can be chopped off and released and relinquished, to give you more freedom, to give you more space, because those are the key words when Uranus are so involved. And what will be strategic, Aquarius can be a very strategic sign. Is air, right? It's fixed air. So anyhow, it makes me think about the Seven of Swords as well, in fact, because the Seven of Swords in tarot is associated to the moon in Aquarius, and for me that does resonate a little bit with that image of the tree that I just shared as well, and this sense of being strategic and preparing ahead. So maybe we can use that card as well to reflect a little bit more. Now I have a couple of minutes, and I really want to share with you that there's obviously another powerful configuration that's happening, because this full moon is going to be dynamite. And it is another T-square, but this is a mutable T-square that's going to be happening. So we've got Saturn at 17 degrees Pisces, Venus at 18 degrees Virgo, and then Mars and Jupiter conjoined, both at respectively 19 Gemini and 17 Gemini. So Jupiter and Saturn will be forming an exact square at the time of this full moon. And remember, astrology is cycles within cycles and cycles, right? So this is a very important stage of a cycle that's happened in 2020. So at the end of 2020, we had the Jupiter-Saturn conjunction in Aquarius, 0 degrees Aquarius, the exact degree where Pluto is traveling right now. So the square is the first crisis moment in that cycle, a crisis moment of our role in this social change as well. How do we want to contribute? And that's a very Aquarian theme as well. What is our role? What are we going to be doing here to contribute with important social changes? Collective issues. We're talking about climate and, other issues around social justice as well, and balance and equilibrium and things like that. So that Jupiter-Saturn square is very important, and is going to be a very powerful part of this full moon as well, something that we can also reflect, and assess during this big boom of energy. So think about December 2020, where you were, and also where is 0 degrees Aquarius in your chart. So for instance, I know that conjunction fell in my 3rd house, which is the house of ideas, thinking, writing. And so I did set intentions on teaching more and writing more and, expressing myself, communicating ideas more. And this is a crisis moment from that intention. It's like there is action that needs to be taken connected to these intentions that were set back then. So reflect on that, think about it, and see where you're at in this process as well. But that's something that's going to come up during this full moon as well. The give and take as well with that Venus Mars, and our values as well in this situation. How much can we align these different needs and directions, right? There are a few different points there that we need to, a few different plates that we're sort of trying to keep it, different balls that we're juggling. I don't know. I'm trying to come up with an imagery. So that's it. I hope this has been insightful, and I'm wishing you a wonderful full moon, a very insightful, beautiful full moon Aquarius, and I'll be speaking to you all soon.